Hello, I'm Steve, and you're watching the Patio Heat channel, where we provide visual concepts of infrared heating as well as tips for ideal patio comfort. Check out our patioheat.com website for sales and more information. Please tap that like button if you find this video useful, as it helps others find our channel. Now let's get heating. Alright, so here we have this residential application. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the shadow for a minute here. And as you can see here, we have this, it's all steel constructed structure. So let's go ahead and jump right into the dimensions. Dimension wise, we have a height to the bottom of this cross member here that goes this direction at 9 feet. And then we have total distances. I got 12 by 13.5 roughly. I think I'm off here a little bit, but that's okay. And then you'll see that I have 7 of these cross members that go across at 2 feet 2.5 inches roughly center to center. I'm not sure what those actually are, but you can see I have 7 of those across this whole way. They could be a little off, but they are all steel constructions, so we're not going to have to worry too much about the clearances to combustible. The only thing we have to worry about is that we have access to the heater itself if we ever needed to do a repair, or maybe speaking even of just the installation itself, how easy will that be with regards to keeping things flush and etc. Alright, so I got 2 different options, and the first option would be probably the option I don't like, and that is just placing 2 of the Infratech units. Now these are 6,000 watts, but you could possibly use 4,000 watts and get a decent coverage at this height. I'd probably want to go to the 6,000 watt just for the BTU value of it, and then go with a control system, so that way you can control the system based on the environment and temperatures of the environment at that particular time. And I believe I have these at 25-degree angles. And then let's just go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. Well, I'm going to stop here and just go backwards a little bit. So these are the clearances to combustibles, although we have no clearances to combustibles, or we have no combustibles, so that I'm not really concerned about that, but there are clearances that you need to meet. If your structure is not made out of steel, then you want to make sure you do it properly and make sure you have those clearances. Also, you can see that I've attached the heater just using the OEM bracket. Obviously, this OEM bracket is way too big for this 2x, I think it's a 2x4 that I've used here. And you can just make a little, you could take this, well, you could take a just an angle iron here and make it so that you can just make an attachment here, and then even possibly just lift the heater up itself so that the center is maybe, I don't know, 1.5 inches, sorry about that, 1.5 inches below this edge here. So we're at 5, so let's just make it 4 inches here. And so then yeah, you could make an attachment point right here to your let me step back on it. There is a junction box located up here, so that you still need to make sure you have room for that junction box. So I think the junction box is about 2.5 inches, so maybe even going back to this and just lifting it up a couple inches instead of 4 inches, but you'll have to kind of look at that to see how much you can raise it underneath this beam here. So alright, so I'm going to leave that at that. Let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. Footprint of heat here, you can see we have a really nice coverage. We've got good crossover rays in the center. That's at that 25-degree angle, and we have a nice full coverage of the entire space. So if this is something that you're interested in, I think this would work out fine. However, I do have what I would consider a little bit better of an option, but this still would be a great option as well. Alright, so let's just turn that off, and we'll go to the second option. And then what I've done here is I've taken the same heater and I've made my own little attachments. This is all steel, so possibly you can weld this to each side, and then just hang the heater, make a hole in that. This is I just modeled this as a 1 by 1/2 tubular steel. Punch a hole there, put the bolt through, and then just hang the heater off there. Again, the junction box I think is located on one side of the heater. It could be either one, doesn't really matter, but it's going to be on one side of this casing on the outside edge here. So Just bear that in mind. But here you can see that the overall finish looks a lot nicer in my opinion, and I think that would be a better option, again, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and look at the clearances. So again, clearances are an issue if this is a combustible surface, but this is not. So if it was a combustible surface, you would need to, in this case, with the clearance or with the dimensions that I had mentioned earlier, this width opening, we meet the top clearance, we don't meet the bottom clearance, so you'd have to bring the bottom edge of the heater to the bottom edge of the combustible surface. Actually, this one appears to be as if it does fit properly, so that might be okay, but that's what you'd have to do. In any case, this is non-combustible, so we're not really concerned about that. Let's go ahead and just look at the overall footprint of heat. You can see here with that, you got this nice even flow, so there's not a hot edge over here, unlike option 1, which would be, sorry about that, we'll put that on there. This is the hotter section here. We do have crossover, but the further out you get from the heater, the less intensity the ray physically is. So like if you were sitting here, it wouldn't be as even as it would be over here. However, on this option, that is true. The whole patio is evenly heated, and again, I just feel like this is a lot better looking option. I know this, I think this is a little house out here, so looking out, you're going to see just a little bit of the heater itself, not the ray obviously, but I just like this appearance a little bit better. All right, and by the way, you can see dimension wise, let me just turn that back on for a second, and the distance that I have these heaters apart from each other. So if we just put a mark right here and bring it over here, you can see that the overall distance is 6'7.5" roughly, and I think that's fine. It's a little bit excessive on the overlapping in the center. You wouldn't want to go, really I try to stick it at 7 feet, maybe 8 foot center to center is my preference, but I think this would be okay. And again, you would really want to use a control system on this heater, or go with the 4,000 watt unit. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you like us to look at your plans, send your information to designs@patioheat.com, and don't forget to hit that like button. That's the only way we get around YouTube algorithms, and we thank you so much for doing that. Have a great day.